Sattvic, those symptoms, they come only on the Nitya Siddha people, everybody cannot get it. All 8 symptoms in full. So that's very hard for anybody to get. Only the Nitya Siddha persons, who are from the Golok Vrindavan, they can only get it, not everybody. So let us start. Anybody can read this, the Bengali shloka, because Prahlad Prabhu is not there today, the Narasimha Prabhu.
He's not here, Prabhu.
Oh, so.
And Neelanjana Mata.
He just came.
There he is. He
just came
come.
in. Okay, good. Narasimha Prabhu, can you please start reading verse number 73?
Is the screen visible to everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see that, yeah.
You can see. He is muted, Prabhu, Narasimha Prahlad Prabhu. You are muted.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu. So go ahead, read verse number 73, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
গোপীনাথ কহে ইহার নাহি বাহ্যপেক্ষা অতএব বড় সম্প্রদায়ের নাহিক অপেক্ষা.
Gopinath Acharya replied, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not rely on any external formalities. There is no need for him to accept the sannyas order from a superior sampradaya. So when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he thought that this great personality, he got initiation from in the Bharati community. So he wanted him to make him sannyasi of the superior order, like a Saraswati or some other kind of community. Next verse, Prabhupada actually gives so many 10 different kind of sannyasis, the orders of sannyasis. So he said that I will make him first class sannyasi, not second class or third class. But he didn't know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not need this kind of title, he's above them, above all of them. So here in the purport, Sri Prabhupada put it, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas from the Bharati Sampradaya or community, which belongs to the disciplic succession of Sankara. So this disciplic succession of sannyasi, Shankaracharya divided this sannyasi in the 10 different orders, according to who is superior, who is inferior, like that. So he gave different names of different sannyasis. That name of the orders actually, Shankaracharya introduced the names of the sannyas disciples. And these are 10 in numbers. Out of them, the surname like Tirtha, Ashrama, and Saraswati, they are considered the topmost. And if you go to Sringeri, Montessori, which is near Udupi, if you go some little bit north in the Karnataka state, you'll get the Sringeri, and the surname Saraswati is considered a first class, Bharati is second class, and Puri is the third class. So Sringeri is the biggest ashram of Shankaracharya, and it's a beautiful place. I had fortune to visit that place. But it's all Mayavadis there, and lot of Mayavadis who propagate that philosophy, they live there, and big Shankaracharyas are there. And everyone else, all the other Shankaracharya ashrams are under that temple. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is writing 10 different kind of sannyas orders. So a sannyasi who is very nicely understood the slogan of Tat Tvam Asi. Tat Tvam Asi means this is Advaita philosophy. It emphasizes that it is not the dualistic nature of the reality. So Advaita means, they think the Atma, the super soul, and our Atma, they are all same, So I am God, you are God, like that, This philosophy comes from this thing from the Vedas. Tam tat tvam asi. So it suggests that individual soul is not separate from the ultimate reality. So our individual soul is equal to is part and everything is same. So it highlights the idea from the ultimate reality. And he says that the individual soul actually is the same divine essence, nature, or spark is the ultimate authority or absolute truth. So they don't distinguish between Atma and Paramatma. So they think, Sadvait is the same. There's no difference. So those people, Tattvamasi, and who takes his bath at the confluence of the river Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati, is called a Tirth. This is like in Prayagraj, who takes bath there, they are called a Tirtha every day. The second kind of sannyasi, Prabhupada is writing, a person who is very eager to accept sannyas, who is detached from worldly activity, who has no desire for any kind of material facility, and who is thus saved from the repeated birth and death, is known as ashrama. So this is the second kind of sannyas order. Third kind of sannyas order, when a sannyasi lives in a beautiful solitary place in the forest and is freed from all material desires, he is called one. Like he is living in the forest, that's why that kind of sannyasi is called one. Fourth kind of sannyasi is sannyasi who always lives in the forest and renounce all connections with the world in order to elevate to the heavenly planets, where he can live in Nanda Nandan Karnan. This is called Aranya. So this kind of people, who lives in the forest and he renounces all the connection from this material world. So this kind of people, this kind of sannyasis are called Aranya kind of sannyasi. And the fifth kind is one who prefers living in the mountain, engaging in the study of Bhagavad Gita, and whose intelligence is fixed, is called Giri. Giri means mountain or Parvat. Sixth kind of sannyasi is one who prefers living in the great mountain, even among ferocious animals, to attain the summit of the philosophical speculation. That is the understanding that the sense of this material world is useless. That's what they think, that this material world is completely useless. This kind of sannyasi is called a Parvat. Seventh kind of sannyasi is a sannyasi who has dipped into the ocean of absolute truth and collected some valuable stones, is known from that ocean, who never falls from the regulatory principle of sannyas, is called Sagara. Sagara means, he values he collected stones from the Sagar or ocean. And eighth kind is one who has learned the classical art of music, who engages in its culture, and who has become expert and completely aloof from material attachment, is called Saraswati. So Prabhupada writing in the beginning of the introduction that Saraswati is the first class kind of sannyasis. And Bhattacharya was also Saraswati, and he wanted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to make him Saraswati kind of sannyasa also. Saraswati is the goddess of music and learning, and in one hand she holds the musical instrument veena. Sannyasi who is always engaged in music for spiritual elevation is called a Saraswati. Ninth kind of sannyasi is one who has become completely educated and is freed from all kind of ignorance, and who is never unhappy even in the distressed condition, is called a Bharati. So this is the Bharati. Bharati is the second class of sannyasis. And one who becomes very expert in absolute knowledge, who is situated in the absolute truth, and who always discusses the absolute truth, is called Puri, which is the third class of sannyasi. So these are Prabhupada explained in very much detail, how are these 10 kind of sannyas ashrams are, and the sannyasis are called. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't needed any kind of titles because he was Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So all these sannyasis are assisted by brahmacharis, who are described as follows. So there are different kind of brahmacharis also. Prabhupada is describing here 4 different kind of brahmacharis. One who knows his real identity and is fixed in particular occupational duty, who is always happy in spiritual understanding, is called the Swarup Brahmachari. Swarup Brahmachari. Second kind of brahmachari is one who is always happy, who completely knows the Brahman effulgence and is always engaged in the practice of yoga, is called a Prakash Brahmachari. Third kind of brahmachari is one who has acquired absolute knowledge and who always meditates on the absolute truth, knowledge, and unlimited in the Brahman effulgence, and thus keeping himself in the transcendental bliss, is called the Ananda Brahmachari. So these are different kind of brahmacharis. Fourth kind of brahmachari Prabhupada is writing here, one who is able to distinguish between matter and spirit, who is never disturbed by material transformation, and who meditates on the unlimited, inexhaustible, auspicious Brahman effulgence, is the first class learned brahmachari, is called Caitanya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name was Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, his sannyas name. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was talking to Gopinath Acharya about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas community, he appreciated the first name, Sri Krishna, but he didn't like the name, surname Chaitanya, because that's not that good name, which is the name for a brahmachari belong to the Bharati community, which community is looked like by sannyas ashram as the second class, like that. He therefore suggested that the Lord be elevated to the Saraswati community. However, Gopinath Acharya pointed out that the Lord, he does not depend on any external formality. These are all external formality. These different kind of brahmacharis and different kind of sannyasis, they are all external for the Supreme Lord. For a human being, that's all right, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not a human being. He was acting as a human being, but he was supreme. And his disciples, like Gopinath Acharya knew very well that what is the real position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gopinath Acharya was firmly convinced that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna himself, and therefore independent of any external ritual or formality. He doesn't need any kind of these things. He is completely independent of any of these material things. If one wants to engage in the pure devotional service, he does not require particular superiority as the Bharati or Saraswati. He doesn't need any kind of these kind of titles. Next verse, please, 74.
ভট্টাচার্য কহে ইহার পৌর যৌবন কমেতে সন্ন্যাস ধর্ম করিবে হইবে রক্ষণ.
The Bhattacharya inquired, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in his full-fledged youthful life. How can he keep the principles of sannyas? So here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so young, so beautiful, and how he will keep his sannyas order, because for a young person, it's very hard to keep the sannyas order, because in the material world, and especially in the Kali Yuga, there are so many things, attractive things, and people get pulled out, but he didn't know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is completely different position, he doesn't worry about how he will keep the sannyas, Next verse, please.
নিরন্তর ইহাকে বেদান্ত শুনাইব বৈরাগ্য অদ্বৈত মার্গে প্রবেশ করাইব.
So Sarvabhauma Bhatta is saying, I shall continuously recite the Vedanta philosophy before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so that he may remain fixed in his renunciation and thus enter the path of monism. So he wanted to teach monism, that the super soul and the soul, they are the same, Paramatma and Atma, they are the same. So he wanted to teach him that philosophy, Vedanta philosophy, before the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he said that if you read continuously, that's the Mayavad philosophy, that if you read it continuously, this Vedanta philosophy, then a sannyasi can remain fixed in his renunciation, otherwise it will be hard. So according to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, among sannyasis, the cultivation of the Vedanta philosophy help in becoming detached from the sense of gratification. So if you study and cultivate the Vedanta philosophy, then that will help one person to be detached from all this sense gratification, but that's not possible actually. Thus, a sannyasi can protect the prestige of wearing the lion cloth or coffin. One has to practice sense control as well as the mind control and subdue the 6 forces of speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals. So one has to control all these 6 urges of the body, which is given in the Upadeshamrit, and there is very nice verse, which is the first verse of Upadeshamrit. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udara upastha vegam, etan vegam yo vesha hete dhira sarvam api imam prathvim sasishyate. So vacho vegam means the urge of the speech, because we want to talk many things. Our tongue all the time want to have to talk this different nonsensical things, And manasaha means the demands of the mind. Mind demands so many things. So that has to be controlled actually. Third thing it has to control is krodha vegam, the anger. Everybody gets anger. So impulse of the anger should be controlled. Otherwise, it will be very hard to stay fixed in the sadhana. Then jivva vegam. We know how the tongue wants to eat this thing, or say something, all the time. So this kind of demand of the tongue should be controlled. And the udara means the belly. So the belly's urges has to be controlled, because our belly all the time wants, let me eat gulab jamun, let me eat rasgulla, let me eat this, let me get that. And udara pastha vegam is the agitation of the genitals. That also has to be controlled. And etan vegam yo vishaheta dhira, with dhira means sober person. So sober person actually who can tolerate these 6 urges, he is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Sarvam api imam prathvim sasishyat. He can make all over the world. In the prathvim sishyat means the disciples. So this kind of person, who can control these urges, can make disciples all over the world. So that's written in the purport that one has to practice the self-control as well as the mind control and subdue these all 6 urges. Then one can become expert in understanding the devotional service of the Lord and thus become a perfect sannyasi. For that purpose, one must cultivate knowledge and renunciation regularly. When one is attached to the material sense of gratification, he cannot protect his sannyas. If one is engaged in gratifying the senses, how he can be sannyasi? It will be very hard actually. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya suggested that by the study of Vairagya renunciation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might be saved from the clutches of full-fledged youthful desires. So see how Bhattacharya wanted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he should teach him the Vedanta philosophy, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can keep his sannyas order. Next verse, please.
কহেন যদি পুনরাপি যোগপট্ট দিয়া সংস্কার করিয়া উত্তম সম্প্রদায়ে আনিয়া.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then suggested, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would like, I will bring him to the first class sampradaya, and by offering the saffron cloth and performing a reformatory process again. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like, then he can give him sannyas order again, and then give him the Saraswati, put him in the Saraswati sampradaya, first class sampradaya, so he can reform him. Bhattacharya wanted to reinstate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into Saraswati Sampradaya because he did not like the Lord's belonging to the Bharati Sampradaya or Puri Sampradaya. He didn't want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be second class sannyasi or third class sannyasi from those Sampradaya. He wanted him to be first class sannyasi. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not depend on an inferior or superior Sampradaya. So he doesn't belong to any of these things actually. the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains in the supreme position in all circumstances. So God is always Lord, without a second. So he need not to depend on any of these things. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya didn't know the real position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Next verse, please.
শুনি গোপীনাথ মুকুন্দ দুহে দুঃখী হইলা, গোপীনাথ আচার্য কিছু কহিতে লাগিলা।
Gopinath Acharya and Mukundat became very unhappy when they heard this. Gopinath Acharya therefore addressed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as follows. So Gopinath Acharya and Mukundat, they were both with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when they heard that Bhattacharya really wanted to make him first class sannyasi and also teach him the Vedanta philosophy, they were very angry, and they told Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as follows. Next verse, please.
ভট্টাচার্য, তুমি ইহার না জানো মহিমা, ভগবত্তা লক্ষণের ইহাতে সীমা।
My dear Bhattacharya, you do not know the greatness of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are found in him to the highest degree. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all the symptoms of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Bhattacharya could not recognize that, and that's why Gopinath Acharya has to tell Bhattacharya that he has all the symptoms of Supreme Personality Godhead. He does not need any of these things. Since Bhattacharya was an impersonalist, he had no idea of the absolute truth beyond impersonal effulgence. However, Gopinath Acharya informed him that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who know the absolute truth know it in 3 phases, explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 1.2.11. The shloka says, Vadanti tat tattvas tattvavidas tattvam yaj ajnana advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So, those who are in knowledge of non-dual absolute truth know very clearly what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, and what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all these things actually, they all, Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are all the same, different group realized. It's a realization of the different person. It's the same thing. But Brahman, the realization is very vague. And Paramatma realization is localized realization of our Atma, and the Bhagwan realization is the actual realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sat Aishwarya Purna. So Lord is full of 6 Sat Aishwaryas. So the 6 things, like wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. So they should be in full. This definition was given by Parashar Muni, who is the father of Srila Vyasadeva. So he wrote in the
Aishwaryasya samagrasya vidyasya
Aishwaryasya samagrasya virasya yashasya jnana vairagya yoshchaiva sannama bhagavatin. So this shloka is very important to know that Lord has to have, because, and they should have this all in full. It's not like something is missing. He's very powerful, but then he doesn't have all the money. If he's powerful, he doesn't have all the wealth, things like that. So one has to be in full of these opulences. The Supreme Personality Godhead is Sadashwari Purna, complete with 6 opulences. Gopinath Acharya emphasized that all those 6 opulences were completely existing in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all those opulences, and that's why Gopinath, the Bhattacharya didn't know that this thing. That's what he was thinking, something else about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Next verse, please.
Scroll down.
Little scroll down. Madhu, little pull the Bengali. Yeah, please. Thank you.
তাহাতে বিখ্যাত ইহা পরম ঈশ্বর অজ্ঞ স্থানে কিছু নহে বিজ্ঞের গোচর।
Gopinath Acharya continued. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is celebrated as the supreme personality of Godhead. Those who are ignorant of this connection find the conclusion of knowledgeable men very difficult to understand. So Gopinath Acharya was saying to Sarvam Bhattacharya that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered as the supreme personality of Godhead, and he has all the characteristic of supreme personality of Godhead. But who ignore this thing and they don't know this thing, for them it is very hard to understand the supreme personality of Godhead, because they have to, the conclusion of their knowledge is deficient, and they will be having very difficult time to understand the Lord. Okay, next verse 80.
শিষ্যগণ কহে ঈশ্বর কহ কোন প্রমাণে, আচার্য কহে বিজ্ঞ মত ঈশ্বর লক্ষণে।
So the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya retaliated, because till now, they were hearing this, but then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's disciples were around there. So they said that, by what evidence do you conclude that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord? And this is very valid question that they are asking, that how do you prove that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Gopinath Acharya replied, the statements of the authorized acharyas who understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the proof. So actually, whatever acharya says, we have to follow it. We have to have full faith in Acharya Vani, Guru Vani. So Bhattacharya says that those people, Bhattacharya's disciples are saying that, what evidence do you have that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord? So since the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there have been many pseudo-incarnations in India who do not present authorized evidence. So we can see now also so many Bhagwan, this Bhagwan, that Bhagwan, you will get 40, 50 Bhagwan in India at this time also. So anytime. So at that time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, at that time also there were many pseudo-incarnations of Lord. They think, they are the Bhagwan. So 500 years ago, the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, being very learned scholar, were certainly right in asking Gopinath Acharya for the evidence. If a person proposes that he himself is God, or that someone else is the incarnation of God, or God himself, he must cite the evidence from the Shastra to prove his claim. So one must, if somebody says, I'm the God, then he has to prove it. Thus, the request of Bhattacharya's disciple is quite bona fide. Unfortunately, at the present moment, it has become fashionable to present an incarnation of God without referring to the Shastra. Before an intelligent person accepts someone as an incarnation of God, however, he must ask about the evidence. When the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya challenged Gopinath Acharya, he immediately replied correctly, we must hear the statement of great personality in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we must find out from the different different Vedic books, and find out the statement of the great acharyas, and then only one can prove that thing. Lord Krishna is established as a Supreme Personality of Godhead by statement from the authorized persons like Brahma, Narada. We see in Bhagavad Gita, the 10, 10, 10, 11 shloka, where it says that Brahma, Narada, Vyasdeva, Asita, Arjuna, everyone except Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why Arjuna was saying Param Brahma, Param Dhama. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also established as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead by evidence from the same personality. Same personality also accepts Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the different Shastra also, there are so many so many verses actually in Srimad Bhagavatam itself. There is nice verse about Krishna Vardam Trisha Krishnam Sango Pangast Parshadam Yagge Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. So here, in this age of Kali, the intelligent person, Sumedasa, intelligent person, perform the congregation chanting of the worship of the incarnation of Godhead. And so which incarnation of Godhead? Who constantly sings the glories of the Lord Krishna, like a Sankirtan movement. And his complexion is not blackish. He said, Tusha Krishna, Akrishna, Tusha Akrishna. So it's not blackish, but it's like that, accompanied by the associates. And with the weapon, his servants, and confidential companions. So Krishna Varna means what is said Krishna Varna? Lord Chaitanya belongs to the category of Krishna, this Krishna category, or Krishna Varnam. Krishna Varnam, there is another meaning of Krishna Varnam also, is constantly who chants the name of Lord Krishna. That's a Krishna Varnam also. And his rang is Akrishna, Krishna Akrishna. Krishna's bodily complexion is not black. Krishna means a black color, but actually Krishna's color is not black. What color is Krishna? The dark blue color, actually, like this is Ghanashyam, which is light of rain cloud. That kind of color Krishna has. He and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking, appeared in the golden yellow complexion. And also it says Sango Pastra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Parshadam. He had many Parshads with him, and he had all the weapons of the Harinam Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya always accompanied by the confidential associates, which are the Sri Nityananda Advaitacharya and Gadadhar Pandit Srivas, Haridas Thakur. These all are associates of Lord Chaitanya. And they were chanting the congregational chanting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all the time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation actually was not to kill the demons, because Pavitranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Kaduskritam. So Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't came to kill the demon, but he came to kill the demoniac nature of the people. Because if he kills, he has to kill everybody in this world, because everybody is demoniac in this material world, especially in the Kali Yuga. So he had to kill everybody. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur requested him, rather than killing the person, kill their demonic mentality so they can concentrate on the Supreme Lord. There are so many shlokas actually in the different shastras, but we have very less time, so maybe I can say one or two other proof, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like in Vishnu Shastranam, there is another beautiful verse. Suvarna Varna Hemango, Varnagas Chandanam Gadi, Sanyasakrit Chamah Santo, Nishta Shanti Parayanaha. So in this shloka, he has that Hemanga. Suvarna Varna means he has a golden complexion of Radharani. And then Hemango means he has the appearance of a molten gold. Suvarna Varna Hemango. Then Varanga is exclusively beautiful. We know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty. Everybody, wherever he went, all over his South India tour, everybody will come and get mesmerized to see the beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was actually very beautiful. Chandana Gadi means the Lord's body is smeared with sandalwood pulp. So Lords were smeared all over with the chandan. So these are the lots of qualities actually. And there are some activities also described. Sanyasakrit, he accepts the renounced order of the life. Also, Sama means he is fully self-controlled, or he is equipped, and he is Shant, is completely peaceful. Also, his Nishtha, he rightly fixed in the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. And Shanti Prayana means he is the highest abode of devotion and the peace. So, I will read one more shloka, then we will go to our verse again. So, from Garud Puran, Aham Purno Bhavishyami Yuga Sandhyo Visheshata Mayapure Navadvipe Bhavishyami Suchi Sachi Sutaha. So he says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Aham Purno Bhavishyami, that so this Bhavishyavani was done like when the Garuda Purana was written about 5,000 years ago. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here only 500 years ago. So 4,500 years ago it was then the Bhavishyavani that Yuga Sandhya Visheshta, that in the Kali Yuga I will come in the Mayapure, Navadvip, in the Navadvip district in the Mayapur, I will come as a Sachi Sutaha, a son of Mother Sachi. So we can see this Bhavishyavani, this prediction was made in the Garuda Purans. And there are many, many Purans. There are 10 different Puran which does this Bhavishyavani that Lord Chaitanya will come. So it's not when Lord comes, it's already written in many, many Shastras, and many great Acharya tells these things to us, and one has to have full faith. So it's not anybody can come out and claim that I'm Bhagwan and people should worship him as Bhagwan. No, that's wrong. And that's what is happening in this material. That's why Prabhupada is emphasizing so much. So let us read the purport again. So we will read 81 now, right? 80 we read already. 81, yes.
শিষ্য কহে ঈশ্বর তত্ত্ব সাধি অনুমানে, আচার্য কহে অনুমানে নহে ঈশ্বর জ্ঞানে।
So here in translation it says the disciples of Bhattacharya said we derive knowledge of absolute truth by logical hypothesis. Gopinath Acharya replied, one cannot attain real knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead by such logical hypothesis and argument. So disciples of Bhattacharya were saying that we derive the knowledge of absolute truth by the thinking in absolute, by the hypothesis, So there are actually three kind of pramans in the Shastras. One is the praman. First one is the pratyaksha praman, which we see by our eyes. Second praman is anuman praman, which we just think, speculate. And third one is the shabda praman, which we hear from our acharya, or shastra praman, are written in the holy books actually. So these are the three different kind of praman. So pratyaksha praman refers to the acquiring knowledge from direct sensory perceptions. From our eyes we can see. Many people believe, I will not believe until I see by my eyes, own eyes. But you can ask him, can you see your brain? And he said, no, I cannot see. So it doesn't mean that he doesn't have brain. So pratyaksha praman is not the right praman. Anuman praman also, whatever people observe, they just observe the things, and then apply the reasoning for that knowledge, and come to some conclusion. But that's also not right. But the best praman is the Shabda praman or the Shastra praman, refers to the gaining knowledge from the words of reliable sources, great acharyas and great Puranas like Srimad Bhagavatam and others. So this is considered a very valid praman. So one has to get praman from the holy scriptures, not from anywhere, but the authorized scriptures which Lord himself approves it. So Mayavadi philosophers in particular make certain hypotheses about the absolute truth. They reason that in the material world we experience that everything is created. If we trace the history of anything, we find the creator. So if we go back, who created this, who created this person, like that, if you go back, we will find out that everything is created by the Supreme Lord himself. Therefore, there must be a creator of this huge cosmic manifestation. By such reasoning, they come to conclusion that a higher power has created the cosmic manifestation. The Mayavadis do not accept the great power to be a person. Their brain cannot accommodate the fact that this huge cosmic manifestation can be created by a person, because they think, the person is like them. They didn't think, the Supreme Person can do any and everything. They don't think like that. So that's why they think that a person cannot create. So they think this material world is created by a supreme power. Because as soon as they think of a person, they think of a person within this material world with the limited potency. Sometimes the Mayavadi philosophers will accept Lord Krishna or Lord Ram as Bhagwan, but they think of the Lord as a person having the material body. The Mayavadis do not understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has a spiritual body. They think of the Krishna as great personality, a human being within whom there is supreme impersonal power, Brahman. Therefore, they finally conclude that the impersonal Brahman is the supreme, not the personality Krishna. This is the basis of Mayavadi philosophy. However, from the Shastras, we can understand that Brahman effulgence is the bodily rays of Krishna. So they think, Brahman effulgence is the power, big power. So by powerful thing, this whole world can be created. But they don't know this power or effulgence, what they see, Brahma Jyoti, where it comes from. It comes from the body of Krishna. They don't know this thing. That's why they think the person Krishna cannot create this whole cosmos, and it must have been from the Brahma Jyoti. And that's why they think, this Brahma Jyoti is everything, Brahman is everything. And in the Brahmaji's prayer, it says, Yasha Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Sashesh Vasudha the Vibhuti Bhinnam Tad Brahma
Mute it, ऐसे बोल.
Kalam Anantam
Move it,
Avashu
move it, move up.
Ashesh Bhutam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, the primeval Lord, the effulgence of whose transcendental body is known as the Brahma Jyoti. That Brahma Jyoti, which is limited, unfed, and all pervasive, is the cause of the creation of unlimited number of the planets with varieties of climates and specific conditions of life. Brahma Samhita 540. So this is very beautiful slok which says that from where the Brahma Jyoti comes and how the Brahma Jyoti works, is clearly says here it comes from Krishna. So Mayavadi philosophers study the Vedic literature, but they do not understand the absolute truth in the last stage of realization, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Bhagavan realization. They don't believe in Bhagavan realization. They believe in the Brahman or the Brahma Jyoti. They do not accept the fact that there is a creator of this cosmic manifestation, but that is Anuman. That is the hypothesis, They think the Mayavadi philosophers' logic is sometimes like seeing a smoke on the hill. If you see the smoke, what you think, there must be some fire like that. So they think, this cosmic manifestation, and they think, this is the so big power, Brahma Jyoti is so big power, so Brahma Jyoti must have done it, but they do not know the origin of Brahma Jyoti. The smoke is created when there is a fire, just as one can conclude that there is a fire from the smoke. The Mayavadi philosophers conclude that there must be a creator of the cosmic manifestation. The disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wanted evidence to show that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually the creator of the cosmic manifestation. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually wanted evidence that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the actually creator of the cosmic manifestation. What is the proof of that? Only then would they accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If somebody can prove that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu created this whole cosmic manifestation, then they can accept him. Otherwise not. Originally, Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original cause of the creation, Gopinath Acharya replied. So Gopinath Acharya is then saying that one could not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by guesswork, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Naham Prakash Sarvashva Yoga Maya Samanvita Mudoham Nari Janati Loko Mam Ajam Avyayam. So he says that I am never manifest to the foolish people. So Krishna has his own power. He doesn't want to reveal to everyone in this material world. He reserves the power or the right not being exposed to everyone. Why Krishna? Krishna is not somebody's servant that he should actually accept that everybody should know him, or he has to prove. He need not to prove anything, Somebody wants to know by their study or following the acharyas, then it's a different story, but Krishna will not force anybody to accept that. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my external yoga maya samamrita, external energy. They are covered with that. Brahmajot, yoga maya. And so the deluded world know me not, whom am unborn and infallible. He's unborn, he's infallible. Lokomam ajam avyayam. So that's what. So there are so many shlokas about that it's not like everybody has to. There is another shloka actually that Krishna doesn't want everybody to know him, and there are so many nice shlokas like Nayam Atma Pravachena Labhyo Na Meghaya Na Bahuna Shrutena Yame Vesh Purunute Tana Labhyas Tashesh Atma Vibranatu Tanu Swam. So this Atma or super soul is not to be attained by the study of Vedas, not by the intelligence, nor by much hearing, but Atma can be attained only by him who seeks to know it. Person who are looking for and think, how I can know. So then Krishna will reveal him the true nature. It comes only by the mercy of Krishna only. It will not come otherwise. So we need Krishna's mercy to understand him. Otherwise, Krishna will not reveal to everybody. We should have proper desire to know about Krishna. Then one can understand Krishna not by scholarship or anything, but by our sincere desire to know about Krishna. One cannot understand him by simple scholarship. Like Bhagavad Gita says, Tesham Satad Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadam Buddhi Yogantam Tena Mam Upayanti Te. So Krishna says here clearly, those who constantly devoted to serving me with love, then Krishna will give them knowledge. And by that knowledge, one can know the Lord of Krishna, otherwise not. So Krishna has given many shloka like that. The next verse in the same, on the 11th verse, in the 10th chapter, it says, Tesham evanukampartham aham agyanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana dipen baswata. So Krishna is saying, I show them special mercy who are dedicated to me. They worship me, serve me by heart, by full love. For them, I dwell in their heart and destroy there with the shining lamp there. Knowledge of darkness, born of the ignorance. So because of ignorance, we think we are this body. But once that ignorance goes away, then we know our actual position. So Krishna has given many shlokas in the Shastras, and we have no time to discuss all those. So Krishna says here clearly, see, Lord Krishna says everywhere in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mama Bejanati. Only by bhakti I can be understood. One can understand me only by devotional process. And in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Krishna says, Bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasham hi etad uttamam. Here Lord Krishna informs Arjuna that he is disclosing the secret of Bhagavad Gita to him because he is his devotee. Krishna doesn't reveal to everybody like that. Until unless you are his devotee, his friend, then Krishna will reveal. Arjuna was not a sannyasi, nor was he a Vedantist or a Brahmana. He was, however, a devotee of Krishna. The conclusion is that we have to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the devotees. So devotees, who are the pure souls, and they are engaged full time in the service of Krishna, they can actually reveal that who is Lord Krishna and how we can actually know about him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says, Guru Krishna Prasada Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So without Guru and Krishna Prasad mercy, nobody can know Bhakti Lata Bij will never grow in their heart. And Bhakti Lata Bij, to have Bhakti Lata Bij, we have to have Kripa of Guru and Krishna. Without their prasad, their blessing, we cannot know Krishna. So more evidence can be cited to show that without the mercy of devotee or the mercy of Krishna, one cannot understand what is Krishna, what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is confirmed in the next verse. 82 verse, please.
অনুমান প্রমাণ নহে ঈশ্বর তত্ত্ব জ্ঞানে কৃপা বিনা ঈশ্বরের কেহ নাহি জানে।
So Gopinath Acharya continued, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by his mercy, not by guesswork or hypothesis. So by hypothesis or by guesswork, nobody can understand the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord can be known to him only by the mercy of the Lord. Lord has to give us blessing to know him, or his representative, or pure souls, pure devotees. Then only we will know Krishna. Otherwise, we can try from ourselves, like many scholars, do the PhD in Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha and everything, but they do not know who is Krishna itself, So this is the condition. Actually, they can have PhD degree in their subject matter, but unless they are devotee themselves and they know it, the truth by the blessing of Krishna, they will not understand. One cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by exhibiting some mundane magic. Foolish people are enchanted by the magical demonstration, and when they see a few wonderful things done by mystical demonstrations, mystical power, they accept a magician as the personality of Godhead, that he's Bhagwan, he's showing so much magic, only Bhagwan can do that. So they think that that person, who is showing magic is Bhagwan, because they don't know, they have no idea of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan's kripa, blessing is not on them, so they will never understand the Bhagwan. Nor should one guess or speculate about the incarnation of God or personality of Godhead. One has to learn from the bona fide persons or from the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, as Arjuna did by the mercy of Krishna. Krishna himself also gives many hints about his potencies as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna shows those things many places, and so, but one has to have blessing to understand them. One should understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only through the evidence presented by the Shastra and the Mahajans. Mahajano eva gatha sapantha. In any case, one must have the mercy of Lord in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service. So if we perform devotional service, then only we will have the mercy of the Lord, and we can and by that mercy we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, okay, there is still 10 minutes, so we'll go one or two more shlokas, and then we will end. Okay, verse number 83, please.
ঈশ্বরের কৃপা লেশ হয় তো যাহারে সেই তো ঈশ্বর তত্ত্ব জানিবারে পারে।
The Acharya continued, if one receives, so this is Gopinath Acharya, if one receives but a tiny bit of Lord's favor by the dint of devotional service, he can understand the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one has to receive Lord's even little bit of favor. Then, and how we can get that favor? By the devotional service. So devotional service is very important in the devotee's life. So if you continue devotional service, etam satadiptanam, bhajatam priti purvakam, so we continue our devotional service, then we will receive the tiny bit of the blessing of Lord, and then we can understand the nature of the Lord, that what is the nature of the Lord. So the next shloka is actually is Sanskrit, so I will read it. Athapite deva padambhujadvaya prasadaleshanugrahita evahi janati tattvam bhagwan mahimno nachanya ekopi Chiram Pichinvan. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many, many years. So we know that so many people, conditioned souls, actually, they keep reading the Shastras for years and years. They study the Vedas and everything, but they don't understand the real meaning. Because for real meaning, one has to have the favor of the Lord, then only they can understand. So, slightest taste of mercy of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So, actually, one has to take shelter to lotus feet, then only we can have the mercy of the lotus feet of the Lord. And then we can understand the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, not. So what we have to do, the conditioned soul has to surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, and that way he can acquire his costless mercy. And by that mercy, the whole situation will change, and the living entity can understand who is the Supreme Lord. So we will read. So this will be last verse actually. So I will read the purport and see. So the above verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-29. Brahma Samhita states, Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta. So, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the ultimate goal of knowledge, so Prabhupada is quoting different verses. Brahma Samhita 5:33 says, Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta. So, it's very Adurlabham. Krishna is Adurlabh, hard person, who are not the devotees. But for the devotees, it's not that hard. This is actually adurlabham. Adurlabh for the devotees, durlabham for non-devotees. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the ultimate goal of knowledge, Vedasya sarvair ahameva vedya. So by Vedas, I am to be known. This is the whole purpose of the Vedas, that Krishna has to be known through the Vedas. But many people read Veda and do not understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is actually a very unfortunate situation. One who is not a pure devotee, who is not engaged in the service of Lord, cannot understand him. Lord Brahma therefore confirms, Vedeshu Durlabham. It is very difficult to understand the Supreme Lord simply through one's study. Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. However, it is very easy for the devotee to capture the Lord. For devotees, is Adurlabham. To know about the Lord. The Lord is known as Ajita, unconquerable. No one can conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the Lord's devotees, they can conquer the Lord. But the Lord consents to be conquered by his devotee. This is his nature. So we can know for Arjuna, he became Partha Sarthi. So that's why Padma Puran also states, Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Bhaggaya Indriyani Sevan Mukho Hi Jivyado Swayam Eva Ispura Adaha. So if we engage our tongue, Sevan Mukho Hi Jivyado. So this is our jivva. Actually, if we engage in the chanting Lord's name and also glories of the Lord and honoring the Krishna Prasadam, then if we engage our tongue like that, then Krishna will reveal himself to us. So that's why Krishna's Naam Adi Bhaved Grahya Indriyani. From externally by our indris, if we know, then we will not understand Krishna. But if we engage our senses in Krishna service, then of course we will know that being pleased by devotional activities, the Lord reveals himself to the devotees. Swayam eva ispura ada. So Krishna will reveal himself to us. That is the way to understand Krishna. So the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam quoted by Gopinath Acharya was originally spoken by Lord Brahma when he was defeated by Lord Krishna. The Brahma had stolen all the cows and cowherd boy. Even Lord Brahma got confused, and he thought, so if Brahma cannot imagine who is Krishna, then how we as a material soul, material body, how we will understand Krishna? It will be very hard. Brahmaji is the first human being, or it origin from the Vishnu, Lord Vishnu himself, he cannot understand Krishna. So it's very difficult for anyone to understand Krishna unless we get Krishna's mercy himself, by serving him properly. Because we know Brahmaji, how he got bewildered and he stole the cows and calves. And then Krishna taught him, So if Lord Brahma can make a mistake in understanding Krishna, what to speak of the ordinary persons who either misunderstand Krishna or falsely present so-called incarnations of Krishna for their own sense gratification. So we have to do our bhakti properly, devotional service properly, and then we get mercy of Param Vaishnavas and the spiritual masters and Lord Krishna. Then Krishna will give us his mercy, and then we can understand him. So this is the proper way of understanding Krishna. Otherwise, we will never understand. So now only 2-3 minutes left. Somebody has any question, comments? You can know today's was too much philosophical, and that's why it took time. So otherwise, we could have read more verses, but we read only few verses today, not too many. So we will next time we'll read more. Thank you very much for listening. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any question, comments, we can discuss it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice class. There's a lot of explanation. Give a lot of shastras, reference, how to prove that Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. My question is that, whenever what the best answer? I know there's so many reference in the scripture. What's the best answer? Somebody said, how can you say that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Supreme Personality of Godhead? I know we always quote this verse from Bhagavatam because Krishna Varnam.
There are so many different books actually, which shows many Purans, and there are so many 25 very prominent verses which predict that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come. They were written 5,000 years ago by Vyasadeva. So people have to have full faith in those verses, and so Krishna, Lord doesn't come without, like it's all written, his all incarnations are written and they keep repeating. So anybody says I'm God, then we should not believe that he is God, unless he can prove in the Shastra that it's written there, So there are, so this Krishna Varnam Trishna Krishna, this slok from Bhagavatam is very famous, and other shlokas, also there are so many. Yeah, I heard a few classes, but when more than 25 shlokas about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Normally we speak about them before the Gaur Purnima, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is how we can prove that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But for the mundane people, who doesn't believe in the Shastra, they will never believe. Even you say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality, but they will not. Because that's why even now in India, after so much propagation by this con, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality, many people still don't believe. So what can be done? This is unfortunate situation, which slowly will get rectified once people get mercy of Krishna and mercy of the devotees. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone else has any comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for the nice class. Even Brahma and others cannot understand. How can we understand Krishna, what he is?
Yes, very hard.
It is very hard. But only Vedas, and that also we're not able to reach that many Vedas. But Vedas can explain, they are explaining a little bit, I think. And Brahma Samhita, all those things he says about Krishna, all the slokas were so beautiful slokas.
So many nice shlokas in Brahma Samhita which says about the Lord, who is the Lord, and gives all the characteristic of the Lord. But people don't understand. It's very hard to understand what Brahmaji is saying, description, and people don't believe in that because they don't have full faith in the Shastra. That's what this happens. If someone has full faith, but how the faith comes also by the devotional service, actually, we continuously do the bhakti, then only faith will be strong. Otherwise, faith will not be strong. So to develop the faith, we have to do the devotional service very, very carefully and with lot of attention. Then only Krishna will reveal himself.
Yeah, this Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. That one says it was inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion only.
Yeah.
So we can understand. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktam.
Yeah. There were so many shlokas in today's, that's why it was very hard to explain all the shlokas. But even each shloka has so much meaning in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Prabhupada put so nicely, so many proofs, but still people don't believe what can be done. It's hard.
Yeah, that's why if we say something about Krishna or something, we have to prove it by Vedas, by slokas.
Yeah.
Then only it is believable.
So next many shlokas, actually, I read them. They very philosophical, actually. So next week, Dronacharya Prabhu will explain them. So we will hear from him next Wednesday. So we will end here.
Thank you very much.
I was just listening to Prabhupada lecture. You mentioned this also. Atashi Krishna Namadi Nabavidayani.
Yeah.
Prabhupada said, you cannot understand Krishna. You have to understand through your senses and the tongue, Siva Mukhe Jivadu, and then Radhe Ada. Then he says, that's why you're given beads, Whenever you want to understand Krishna, you have to chant his name on the beads.
Yeah,
that's true. That's
we had one proper lecture just heard last week. Yeah.
That's a very nice thing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
We will end here today.
I have a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Kavili Prabhu. Dandat Pranam. Just Prabhupada. I was hearing the conversation you said. I think, I don't know, we call conversation argument. Gopinath Acharya and disciples. So here looks like disciples also sitting there.
Yeah, but Bhattacharya's disciples were sitting there. And actually, Bhattacharya was not asking these questions. What is the proof and all this? His disciples were asking.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Bhattacharya will not ask.
So Bhattacharya was also sitting there.
Yeah, he was sitting there, but questions were asked by his disciples.
It's a group attack.
Yeah. But Gopinath Acharya was a very pure soul, very great devotee. That's why he actually answered all their questions, And
no, he mentioned, he said, what did he say? You cannot understand just like that unless his mercy is there, something, right?
Yes, of course. Krishna's mercy has to be there to understand him. Nobody can. That's why Krishna says, Naham Prakasham Sarvasva. So he doesn't reveal himself, he's not under control of anybody. Why he will reveal to everybody? Many times people come and say, I want to see the God. God is not your servant to come and show you his face, So that's why he should.
When they asked for evidence, so he gave scriptural evidence or what?
Yeah, scriptural evidence.
He gave scriptural evidence.
Yeah. Because that is the best evidence, what evidence you can give. Otherwise, you cannot show the magic from your phone. So you have to have either Shastra, Acharya Vani, or from the Shastra, You can show that is the best evidence. That's why we say Sabda Praman or Shastra Praman is the best. Other Pramans are not right. And what Praman they were giving, was just a hypothesis, Anuman Praman. Anuman Praman is just Anuman, it's not, there is no proof of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. So many people, they still don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's supreme personality of Godhead. So Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Vasantobhyev cha patitanam
Pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
namo
Namaha. Antakoti Vaishnavrinda ki
Jai. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.